I have discovered that I really, really love fat. I'm fortunate in that I have a neighbor who's a butcher, and I have friends who are farmers, so I'm able to get both my meat and my fat products from people that I know care for their animals really well. Different animals create different finished products. Tallow comes from ruminants like beef and buffalo. Lard, which our grandmothers, my grandmother always had a thing of bacon grease and a thing of lard on the counter, comes from pigs. And they have different textures. The best part of the fat to get is around the kidneys. And in ruminants, it's called suet. And in pigs, it's called leaf. It's called that because it's shaped like a leaf around the kidneys of the pig. And suet most people know of because they buy suet cakes for their birds. So the process of extracting the fat from the protein is called rendering. And what I'm going to do today is show you a little bit about how I render the fat products. This is beef fat, so will end up being tallow. And I put a fair amount of water in here. A lot of people say to just put an inch of water in and let it cook out, but I put a lot of water in here. My goal is to keep it warm enough to melt, but not boil. Because the higher the temperature, the more flavor you're going to get in the fat, which again, for cooking is great, but for skin products, you want a bland product. So you can see that there's the golden colored liquid on the top here, and that is the fully rendered fat. And I'll keep this going just below boiling until most of these bits are broken down to what looks like clouds in there. After the second render in water, I put the whole pot in the refrigerator, and the clean fat rises to the surface, the grubby bits sink underneath, and you get a nice solid piece that you can work with. So in this pot here, this has gone through its second rendering in water. You can see how nice and white and creamy that is. And I'm going to just get in here with my knife and break it up into some smaller pieces. And you can see, I call these the grubby bits. These are the bits of protein and the sections that we don't want in our final product. It's the part that will make it go bad and have more odor to it. So I'm going to take this out here, and then I'm going to put this now, I'm going to scrape these off and put this in a double boiler. The next step is I'm going to scrape what I call the grubby bits off. 2 boils in water, and this last will be just to warm it up, and any liquid that's left in it and any of the last little bits will sink down to the bottom, and then I'll pour off the finished tallow. And because I'm using a double boiler, I can let the water boil pretty high without it causing the heat to rise into the tallow itself. So once this completely melts, I will pour it off through a strainer into a warm jar, and I'll have a pure, clean, finished tallow. So here I have some finished tallow that was completed on June 1st. It took 3 days to process. You can see how clean, there's no water in it. It's almost odorless. There's always going to be a little bit of an animal smell to it. And the lid's sealed. This is rose petal infused tallow. This is still in process. It had the first rose petals put in it, and I put it in a double boiler for 2 days until they changed color. They turned a little brown. I strained them out, and I've put a second batch of rose petals in it, and it just smells amazing. And at one time, perfume, before there were essential oils, perfume was made in fat.